American League during the regular season, but went 0 for 2 in the championship series here. While it's the Mariners who took advantage of the home field for the first time of any teams in the 5 games of this series in Game 5 to get to within 1 win of an American League pennant. Home teams have won 6 of the last 7 when down 3-2 in Game 6. And we take a look at tonight's same game parlay, available now on FanDuel. You need Julio Rodriguez to knock in a run. He drove in 5 in the 2 games here. Alejandro Kirk needs to get a base hit. And Trey Savage, the starting pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays, needs 6+ strikeouts. But his first start of this season came in Jupiter, Florida, in front of 327 people. This one's going to come in front of 44,000 here, with an entire country watching him, hoping that they can have their season extended.
There's the breakdown of the pitches, and look for both pitchers' slider to be the key tonight. I know everybody talks about his split finger, but his slider is going to have to be really good against the Mariners' right-handed hitters.
Gave up 5 runs in 4 innings in Game 2 against the Seattle Mariners with a different looking lineup. This is the group that they sent out there for Game 5. Julio Rodriguez, who took him deep in Game 2, will lead things off. Then Raleigh, Polanco, and Naylor. Rosarena Suarez, the Game 5 hero, with Crawford, Canzone, and Rivas to round things out. Closest the Mariners have ever been in their 49th year, 1 win away from the World Series. And on 1 pitch, that's got to feel good for the 22-year-old.
Yeah, that is the theme I think Seattle's going to have to adhere to. Get to the fastball and do some damage, because if you don't and you get to 2 strikes, you're going to have a hard time making contact against this pitcher. So I would say they're going to hunt fastballs. Now look, Cal has had some high fastballs that he hasn't hit, and I think tonight he'll get one and he'll hit it.
Tied Game 5 with his 64th home run of the year, and that thing hung in the air for what probably felt like 49 years. Like they've waited 49 years to get to the World Series for the first time. He tied it 2nd time over the first 5 games of this series. He's tied it late with a home run. On a 1-0 from Trey Savage, takes a strike at the top of his zone, and there is that slider.
Yeah, the slider's unique. It doesn't have a lot of turn right to left. That is into a lefty, away from a righty, but it has more vertical top to bottom break.
That is just foul.
So you might say, well, so does his split, but the change of speeds between the 2 are pretty dramatic, and the drop is way bigger. That was a high split that he doesn't really want. He wants the ball to his knees and breaking down away from a left-handed hitter.
This is only Trey's 5th major league start. Splitter's been the best pitch. 1-2 to Cal Raleigh is high with a fastball. His first 4 starts, hitters were 2 for 29 against it. Seattle was very patient against the splitter and went 2 for 3 when they did swing. Two and 2 on Cal Raleigh. Savage turns and fires and strikes him out with the slider.
Good sign for the slider and for the Toronto Blue Jays, because they're going to need Savage to go at least 5 or 6. They short outings are bringing in the bullpens. The bullpens have not been delivering. They need a dominant performance to shorten the gap of the amount of relievers that John Schneider is going to bring into this game.
2 up and 2 down. Jorge Polanco to the plate. Boy, and this game could not have gotten off to a different start from Game 2 for Trey Savage.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to believe that you could look back at that game and have a 0-2 pitch be strike 3 for everybody but the umpire. And then 2 batters later, it's 3-0. He didn't even get an out. And it's crazy the difference of the feeling of a pitcher when you have confidence, you get a couple outs, the first pitch out, you could get on a roll.
There's a high fly ball towards the right field corner. Barger steps out of the track with room. He needed 19 pitches to get the first out in Game 2. He needs 9 pitches to go 1, 2, 3 in the first this time. I'm surprised the dude's walking 2 days after that, fouling a ball off his knee, but he's in the lineup to lead off Game 6 for the Blue Jays. Lucas and Guerrero follow, then Kirk, Varsho, and Clement. Barger in right field. Connor Falef is at second, and Andres Jimenez, after his 2 home runs in Seattle, bats 9th and starts it short against Logan Gilbert, who is all about the swing and miss. Led the American League in that, but in Game 2, John, on short rest, he didn't have the same bite to his stuff.
No, his slider was really flat, and his split was probably not as good as you're normally going to see. And there's this breakdown of his pitches. He really has an electric fastball, but he's going to rely on that slider a lot tonight. And if it's good and it's in the strike zone, he'll get some quick outs. Then the split fingers, the big swing and miss pitch for Gilbert.
Buckle up first pitch. George Springer is aggressive as anybody on the first pitch. Lays off the high fastball. Can you believe he's in there?
Yeah, he took a pitch right off that knee, and that, I tell you what, luckily for him, no severe damage. You know he's sore, but you know he wasn't going to miss this game if he could walk, swing, and jog.
97-mile-per-hour fastball off the knee. Swings and misses and goes down to a knee right here. And it's 1-1. It's a guy that obviously has been productive, but then just having him in the lineup, the energy that he brings, the example that he sets. The 36-year-old postseason veteran, 77th postseason game. Well, if you happen to miss what happened in Seattle in Game 5, he fouled it so hard, or it hit so hard off his knee that it registered on StatCast as a batted ball. Came off his knee at 55 miles per hour. John Schneider said there's a little seam mark there, but it didn't even bruise that badly. Catch glove. It's pretty close.
We're getting closer and closer to getting a ball in this booth.
And before he took that swing, you see the grimace right after. Another 1-2 from Logan Gilbert. Springer drives one down the line, foul. Homered on the very first pitch of this series for the Blue Jays. He's got an extra base hit in 6 consecutive games. Which version of this offense shows up, though? It has been boom or bust in the postseason. 10 a game in the wins, 3 a game in the defeats. Another 1-2. A bounce. Just misses.
We're seeing early on a higher strike zone than a lower strike zone. I know there hasn't been a lot of choices and pitches to pick from, but the high slider that was called against Cal, and now that low slider just missing below the zone.
On 2-2, Springer watches it pop out of the hand, and he's worked it forward. Gilbert shakes a couple times. Finally has one that he likes. Here's his 8th pitch to Springer. Off the hands. Nailers over. He won't get there. Marathon continues. Fitting on a day where the Toronto Marathon ran through downtown. The game begins this way.
Went with a fastball inside, and it gets more of the middle than you would have liked. And haven't seen too many swings from Springer like that. You got to believe his knee, on the weight that he's putting on when he tries to swing, is causing him to drop down to his knee more than usual.
It's fouled off a few. Another payoff from Gilbert. A broken back flare. Third base. Suarez puts it away as he avoids the barrel of the bat. It takes Gilbert 9 pitches, but he does get Springer.
It's a pretty good play here. He didn't realize the bat was going to be by his feet when he was getting ready to catch this pop-up.
That's the last time I'll use that bat.
He catches, and then he looks and says, sees the bat. Oh.
One away in this first inning. Nathan Lucas climbs in. 2 for 2 against Gilbert in Game 1, and you got this career minor league journeyman, nestled in here between the Stars and Springer and Guerrero, just going about his business, hitting .333 in this postseason. An instant look at George Springer over there from the training staff. Thing wrapped right away. 1 ball, 1 strike on Lucas. The Jays have given Logan Gilbert a hard time both times they faced him this year. You go back to April, there was constant traffic, 16 base runners in 7 innings. You got a premium strike thrower in Gilbert against a Toronto offense that hits strikes as well as anybody, and that can go either way. Here's the first base runner of this one. It's Lucas into right. When it goes right, they're putting those strikes in play. It can overwhelm you.
Yeah, it really can. And you got a swing and miss pitcher, but not a swing and miss batting approach by the Toronto Blue Jays. And, you know, a lot of guys have good numbers off of Gilbert, so you feel good about that when you're coming into the game, but you got to execute. And getting guys on in a game where you want to extend your season is just going to keep this crowd in it and put as much pressure as possible on Gilbert.
Speaking of pressure on Gilbert, good numbers against him. Vlad Jr. 2 home runs against Gilbert. Big rip and a foul back at 97.
Well, he's holding back that splitter right now, which I kind of like. You don't want to give this team as many looks as possible of all your pitches if you can help it.
One ball, 1 strike. Vlad is hitless in the 2 games here to begin this series, but then he went to Seattle and resumed what he did to the Yankees. 7 out of 11 in the 3 games in Seattle. .457, 5 home runs for the postseason. And if they're going to cap off this comeback, you figure he'll be right in the middle of it. Bounces this ball gently over the mound. Waiting in the bag is Rivas, over to first, but late. They get Lucas, 2 out. Rivas is on the bag. Blue Jays took a look there to make sure. They play on. 2 out in this first inning, and Alejandro Kirk comes up. I think he's caught his breath by now. What do you think after scoring that run?
Oh yeah, he's ready. I thought he was going to run in the marathon this morning.
Baby steps. Kirk 4 hits, 4 walks, 4 runs batted in this championship series. And Toronto's 4-hitter goes up after that fastball hits it foul. Doubled and then came in to score the go-ahead run in Game 5, scoring from second base on a single for the first time all year. That lead would be short-lived, though, with the Mariners getting the 5 in the 8th. Gilbert's 0-1. Another fastball cracked to deep right field. If it's fair, it's got a chance. It is just foul. And merely strike 2.
Had a couple of those. We had one in Seattle that's barely foul. This one I don't think was enough for a homer, but certainly would have scored Guerrero.
There's that guy right there that had a good look at that one that just narrowly missed going down the left field line in Game 5. So 0-2 on Alejandro Kirk, with DJ Rayburn calling balls and strikes in this game. The crew chief Alfonso Marquez down the left field line. Logan Gilbert, after struggling in Game 2, 3 runs lasting just 3 innings, looking to do what Trey Savage did and put up a 0 in the first inning. Fully rested this time. Yeah, to throw that splitter. Does is right there and strikes out Kirk. After an inning, no score in Game 6.
He's 22, but you wouldn't know it.
It's wipeout stuff. It's an unreal feeling. It's a dream come true. Dunedin Blue Jays, Vancouver Canadians, New Hampshire Fisher Cats, Buffalo Bison, and Toronto Blue Jays. But I'm glad I got to meet the entire organization.
Well, more than a month ago, nobody really knew who Trey Savage was, unless you're somebody that scours prospect rankings, follows those kinds of things. He gets to the major leagues with 2 weeks left in the regular season and starts 3 games, shows enough to make the playoff roster. It's a strike on Josh Naylor, and he goes from being somebody they're excited about to a hero overnight with what he did against the New York Yankees in his postseason debut. Struck out 11, 5 1/3 no-hit innings. With that comes a lot of pressure, a lot of expectations for a 22-year-old who's made 5 starts.
Yeah, he would much rather be pitching up, obviously up 3 games to 2 than down. But basically, when you're in a game like this, you don't have to be told what you need to do. You have to give the manager no reasons to get anybody up, and you make it impossible for him to take you out. Get the leadoff hitter out, get swings and misses.
So far, so good. 4 up, 4 down. And it brings up Rosarena. And take us back to Game 2 where you were talking about a critical call.
Never has there been a guy who didn't put the ball in play but impact an inning. He thought he was struck out, and he ended up walking in that inning, and then they get a 3-run homer. Then with 2 strikes in Seattle, basically done at the plate, he gets hit. And what happens after that? Well, a grand slam. So if you think about it, him getting on base twice is a big reason why the Seattle Mariners scored 7 runs, and it could be the difference.
Yeah, Randy's 2 for 17 in this series, but has scored 6 times. He's been hit twice. He's had 3 walks. He's scored 6 of the 7 times he's been on base. And when he's got on, he's stolen bases, 4 of those. And an 0-1 from Trey Savage takes inside. We were talking with Dan Wilson before the game about the home run reliance of this team. 20 of the 25 runs in this series have come off homers. He pointed to what led to the grand slam. You showed part of it there with the Rosarena. 2 walks as well. And he said, I hope that we see more of that. Hope we see more of the team-oriented grinding at bats and not just relying the ball to pop over the fence.
Yeah, well, they're going to have their hands full with tonight. If they keep getting to 2 strikes with this guy's wipeout secondary stuff, they're going to have a hard time putting the ball in play. And look, he's already shown that he can throw his slider, which he's done really well early. And then he's shown he can bury his splitter down.
Home with another 1-2 and a swing and a miss. And he's got 4 strikeouts or 3 strikeouts over the first 5 hitters.
It's just a high delivery, high release point, and just hard for the hitter to trust that that's not going to be a fastball. The change of speed is why you see such swing and miss, because they're trying to time his fastball, which is hard enough, and then recognize that pitch.
Eugenio Suarez, and Seattle needed somebody, John, to step up for him. Man. And this was not a guy that I don't think either of us saw coming.
No, he was struggling at the plate, and he didn't miss 2 pitches that he got. The one thing you could say about him, obviously everybody loves him, and he's such a great teammate, and you would never know if he was 0 for 20, 0 for 30, or 10 for 10, because the way he goes about the game. So he's looking for a pitch middle in to drive, and he put on a show in batting practice today.
And 1-1 from the Savage, takes a strike on a slider. 2 home runs in Game 5, including the grand slam. Seattle's always had the double. Edgar Martinez to send them to the championship series in '95. Now they have the slam from Suarez, who waits on this 1-2 and takes ball 2.
See, what would be real dirty on a hitter right here is if he throws a splitter over the middle of the plate, because the slider has that tilt a little bit. The splitter has to go straight down.
There's a splitter.
Yeah, just didn't have that tilt downward. That would have been hard for Suarez to stay off of it. He swung at it. The Seattle Mariners have swung at more splitters today than they did the entire game in game one. So they're definitely aggressive and looking for the ball over the middle of the plate.
Savage trying to strike out the side, and he does. Naylor flailing. Rosarena, a wave and a miss, and then a fastball to the knees to ring up Suarez. '28-year-old Logan Gilbert out of Winter Park, Florida. The most important game in franchise history. Has the ball. Faces off with Dalton Varsho. Lead off the bottom of the second. And he's in there with a slider for a strike. Logan is saying these are the kinds of games I grew up dreaming of pitching in. And fitting that he's the one when them on the verge of the World Series for the first time to be that guy. Really the first piece of this homegrown rotation that's been the foundation of the Mariners' rise. Varsho smacks a line drive to center field and a base hit. Oh, it's kicked by Rodriguez, and it allows Varsho to take two. He's going to have a shot at a double either way, but that ensured it.
Well, he'd been struggling on fastballs, but he gets the head out on this one and just laces it. I think he would have had a double, but for sure once that popped out of his glove. And now this part of the lineup is what has been giving pretty much everybody trouble. But in the postseason, this lower part of the lineup has been stingy and a big reason why they score so many runs.
I mean, you got your six-hitter here, Ernie Clement, hitting .429. And he took a first pitch. Pigs fly.
Yeah. Yeah, if you just looked at all the batting averages between two teams and you tried to predict what was happening, it would be easy to see that Seattle would be up 4-0 or 4-1 or however many games are played, but that's not the case.
Ground ball to a drawn-in Suarez, knocks it down, finds it, throws late. Defense shoddy to begin this inning for Seattle.
Well, that was a rocket, and he gets it in the glove. He thinks he's got it, and he's going to check the runner at second, thinking he's got the ball in the glove. Watch when he checks, and then he's like, oh, shoot, I don't have the ball. And by then, it's a little too late to make the throw, but he was concerned a little bit about the runner, just looking him back. And then once he corralled the baseball, right in time.
No defense, kind of the hidden hand in that win for the Mariners in Game 5. Some huge plays, but the little things deserting them so far here in the second. And the Blue Jays have a chance here. First and second, nobody out. Addison Barger. Strike one.
Should see some splits in this at bat for Gilbert.
There's a butterfly version of it.
Yeah, it does float, and that's the thing. It wasn't effective enough to entice swings in his first time against Toronto, but I would expect that being the swing in this pitch for crucial strikeouts and lack of contact, like in this situation.
Well, it's the #1 swing and miss pitch of any starting pitcher in baseball, and he only had 2 when he faced these guys in Game 2. Threw it again, taken outside.
Well, the disparity between the velocity of that pitch and 98. So that's what you have to think about. You get the timing of a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, and then that butterfly kind of almost looks like a knuckleball.
And you have less time to discern it because he's so long, gets such good extension. He's 6'6", really lunges for the plate in his delivery and releases the ball a foot closer to home than average.
Yeah, you have the biggest spread between extension for him and extension for Savage, but then a difference in height too on where they release it.
Unique, both guys.
Yeah, one guy's tall and pitches low, right? He's got a lower release point, but watch how far he gets out at about 7.3 feet, I think, or 7.1, somewhere in that area. And then we'll see when your Savage is on the mound, he's got the high release point, but a short stride, which creates a different illusion for the hitter.
First to have reached for the Blue Jays here in the second. From 0-2 to 2-2 on Barger. Goes up to get it, bangs a base hit to right. Blue Jays on the board first. It's a second inning burst, and it's 1-0 Toronto as Barger drives in Varsho.
That splitter hung right there, almost on a tee. And now Gilbert's finding himself in a really tough spot. Got to get out of this with only one more run at the minimum. And we know what this lineup can do and how many times they can put up a crooked number.
It can turn into a tidal wave. This offense gets going. Here's the 8-hitter Kiner Falefa, who's doubled in back-to-back games. Unable to lay off a first pitch slider. Bottom of the order is where the big difference has been. Down here, what Kiner Falefa and Jimenez did back-to-back games. With a leadoff double and then the home run from Jimenez. Huge gap. Mariners have overcome it with the homers. Ouch.
I know everyone gets tentative this time to steal bases, but man, oh man, can you get a jump right now on Gilbert if they wanted.
Oh, what a stop by Raleigh to save a run right there.
I mean, this is just great hands and do whatever you can to knock that ball down.
MVP candidate right there with Judge, has shown his value throughout this series. First and third, nobody out. Here's a 1-2 pitch. And a chopper foul. And the Blue Jays are sitting around back in August. John Schneider, some of the guys at the front office, and they asked, what has made us good so far? And they decided that it was grinder, ball player type guys. Who else is out there we could get? And that's when Isaiah Kiner Falefa became available from Pittsburgh. Puts this one in play. Suarez has no play, and it's 2-0. Jays doing what the Jays do. Infield hit, Kiner Falefa.
Two strike pitches are catching too much of the plate, and once that ball was hit, as soon as it was hit that slowly, there was really no chance for Suarez. Big inning you're worried about if you're Seattle is looming.
You know, they knew all about Kiner Falefa. They had Kiner Falefa here last year and then traded him to Pittsburgh. And got him August 31st.
This guy here has been a wrecking career. Wow, he has been tough with runners on. Now in this instance, he's probably going to bunt. But we thought that in Seattle, and he hit two two-run homers in the exact same inning in the exact same situation after leadoff doubles.
Similar situation here. Runner at second, nobody out. Let's see if Jimenez is swinging bunting. That's a foul.
Now, if you're going to bunt here and he's good at it, he handles the bat fairly well. You've got to make Suarez field this bunt. He's going to be charging. The shortstop is way behind. They're not putting the wheel play on, which means he would charge to third. And you see how far Naylor is just trusting he's going to bunt by charging, hoping he doesn't square it and pull it back and swing.
It's got to be a terrifying thought for first baseman as you charge in there. Pulls it back, waves over the top of his slider. Life has to flash before your eyes, crashing over there.
Well, the only good news is by the time you pull it back, you hope he doesn't have the full weight and timing to hit a rocket. But now he's not going to be charging with 2 strikes.
Barger at second, Connor Falefa at first. Gilbert still looking for the first out of the inning. He's got it. Strikes him out with a fastball. Second one for Gilbert. Back to the top of the order in George Springer, who popped out his first time but saw 9 pitches. Springer in there with that sore knee. 2 on, 1 out. Takes the ball. We check him with Ken Rosenthal.
Joe, you saw that wrap around Springer's knee as he was in the dugout. That's a combination of heat and vibration, but there was very little chance he would be out of the lineup tonight. John Schneider texted him this morning, asked how he was doing, and Springer basically said, shut up.
He said, I took a 97-mile-per-hour fastball off the knee. It feels terrible. I'm in there. It's the playoffs. Dangerous spot here for Logan Gilbert. Springer has taken him deep before. Here he's patient. He's ahead 3-0. Green light if he wants it. Instead, it's a 4-pitch walk. And the bases are loaded for the Blue Jays. Starting pitching for the Mariners, John, has been through the years what they've been built on. But outside of game 1 where they got 6 innings from Bryce Miller, ERA's around 9.
Yeah, they have not. They've shown kind of like the battle they've been through, right? It's just a little bit weary in their connectivity to their mechanics and sharpness, because they have not been sharp, with the exception, you could say, of Bryce Miller. And you can understand it a little bit, but this is on the verge of really breaking the game wide open.
Lucas was 3 for 3 against Gilbert in this series.
If you're John Schneider, you want an easier game to manage tonight, because on the other side, Dan Wilson up 3-2. If the score gets out of hand, then it's an easier game for him to manage. That's not what he wants. He wants his offense to be within shouting distance.
Lucas looking to crack it open early. 0-2. We're talking right off of the top. The game 5 was decided with a couple bases loaded situations. Jays had bases loaded, nobody out, and could not score. Well, the Mariners got that grand slam from Suarez. Barger's knocked in the first run. Connor Falefa's at second, Springer at first. Swing and a miss. Good splitter for his second K, and a big one right there. Not out of the woods yet. Guerrero's coming up.
I was going to say that sometimes you wish the guy would hit it on the ground and turn 2 so you don't have to face the next guy. But that one, he stayed over his body and over the rubber, and when he doesn't fall off to throw that pitch, it won't leak right and it won't flutter in a non-competitive way. He's got a lot of arms going all over the place, but you still have to stay over the pitching rubber. What that means is be able to deliver the best pitch going home direct to the catcher.
They've walked flat intentionally 3 times in this series. Can't do that here. How you pitching him?
Well, the first pitch was the one I would throw, but it's got to be a little more competitive than that, because Vladdy, he just is not going to swing from his heels. He's going to use the pitch and the location to determine where he's going to hit it. And if you leave it up, middle, out, he's going to shoot it to right field. The only way you get that ground ball is a slider over the middle of the plate down, and then that's where he gets that barrel of the bat on top of the ball. Even though he hits it hard, he'll hit it on the ground.
Ground ball, diving stop Suarez from his knees to second to end the inning.
What a play.
Wow, Eugenio Suarez, who had an error in this inning that opened the door for the Blue Jays to get a couple runs. Saves a couple right here, plus minus even for Gino. Jays on the board first, 2-0 after 2. J.P. Crawford takes a fastball upstairs. Ball 1 from Trey Savage, who has gone 6 up, 6 down on 23 pitches. Took him 19 pitches to get the first out in his first start of this series.
Fastball looks really good, clean, and doesn't look like he's got much stress behind it. He wants the Seattle Mariners to think up on that fastball.
That over the top delivery you're talking about. The splitter dives out of that same window.
Because that's what happens.
Already as many swings and misses with that last one there as he had in game 2. Home with another 1-2. Countybin's up. Full count. He walked him. First base runner for the Mariners. A leadoff walk from J.P. Crawford here in the third. And what an adventure of an inning that was for Eugenio Suarez.
Yeah, here again, I thought he thinks he has the ball in the glove, and then this one's pretty much a do or die and can't really do much about it. And then this rocket at 116 miles an hour. What a reaction and what a play to save the inning for the Seattle Mariners.
Suarez just waits until the bases are loaded and then becomes the greatest player ever. Can't zone here. Takes a strike on the outside corner. His post-game press conference, who's emotional after hitting that grand slam, is the 329th home run of his career, but by far the biggest one. And he said, "This game is so beautiful." 0-2.
You see how easy that is? Now what he's got to get a little bit better at, he's worked about 4 different at-bats into a position where the hitter now has a neutral count. You get 1 pitch at 0-2 and then just put him away. See, and that's what's happened. He's made non-competitive pitches, and this is natural because you don't want to make a mistake with 0-2. But then that 0-2 turns into 2-2, which turns into 3-2. That's what you don't want against the Seattle Mariners. You want as limited opportunities for them to see the pitches per at bat when you have 2 strikes on the hitter.
Looking for that put away pitch to Canzone. A 1-2, and he made a good one right there. Went from uncompetitive to unhittable.
I know why they've got to do it, but you're almost doing him a favor by putting that many left-handers in the lineup, because that pitch comes from an angle that is so unique and he has such command of it. That left-handed hitter really doesn't get a chance to have a fair at bat. The right-hander possibly has a better chance to hit him because of the angles.
One of those lefties right here in Leo Rivas. There are 6 guys that'll hit left-handed against him tonight. And the 3 regular season starts that he made, left-handers hit 116. Same lineup for Dan Wilson that he unveiled in game 5. Rivas, a new addition to the lineup in the games in Seattle. Swings and misses, and it's 0-2.
You almost got to tell yourself he hasn't thrown 2 consecutive fastballs for strikes when he pounds the first fastball for a strike. You almost got to be conditioned at some point to test that. See if you can get him out of that routine, because right now I haven't seen it, and he goes right to the off speed right after a strike, and then the hitter has a hole of 2 strikes each time.
So can you be disciplined enough to just take after a first pitch fastball strike?
That's the challenge, because you're going to start seeing, like, the beauty of pitching is that once you think you've got them and you can reverse the script and get them guessing the other way. Now, you don't throw a fastball to a guy that never comes off a fastball.
Torres.
But when they start seeing this many splits, you can bust a fastball up for a swing and miss on this count.
Two balls and 2 strikes on Leo Rivas.
Like, I could already see what they would be thinking about Julio Rodriguez. Let's say they get this hitter out. He threw him a first pitch fastball last time. Probably will not throw him a first pitch fastball this second time because there'll be a runner on. Those are the kind of things you got to be thinking about, the cat and mouse game. So again, right here might be a different situation given the hitter. He threw a fastball that he fouled off. Chances are he doesn't back it up with a fastball. But if he does, and you're adhering to it, you're like, oh.
Yeah, thanks for the advice, John. Crawford at first, 2-2 to the plate. Up. It was a splitter and it was high.
Yeah. You know, when you're a pitcher and you wait and you watch all day, all year, when you only pitch about 30 times, you're watching these trends. You're watching things that you have to put in your brain for when you're on the mound facing a team after you watched your teammate pitch against them.
Trey said he did that closely in the game since game 2. Here's a high fly ball off of the bat of Rivas. Back goes Barger to the track, to the wall, off the very top of the wall. That is the longest single in baseball history.
Wow, Crawford needed to be standing almost near second base. I don't know what he was doing there. I think he thinks this is a homer. Why else would you only get a single out of that ball if you're Crawford? And I'd love to know. Let's watch the replay, because this ball, he can easily get back to first, because it's either going to be caught at the wall or it's obviously going to be a homer or a hit.
And you're not tagging up.
You're not tagging up. So that's a little bit of a unfortunate. He should be at least at third base, and he's just standing there, and then, man, he wasn't far enough towards second.
It's another one of those little things. The Mariners not doing well in this game. There's a ball on Rodriguez, and you were right. He gave him the first pitch fastball the first time. Not here, though.
I mean, that's the longest single you're ever going to see out of a guy who can run and a guy on base who can run.
Here's a throw down to first, not in time. Vlad says check. Rivas has been picked off once already by Max Scherzer.
That is a called play between the catcher and Guerrero. Watch where he's playing behind him. And then this is a play when the pitch is made. I don't know about that. Looked like he kind of came over the top.
Challenging the safe call at first base.
See how the glove bounces right there? Not so sure, but it's worth the challenge. That would be a tremendous rally killer right there. I think he's safe.
But it's presented by Zoom here, John.
But the little things in a playoff game have become huge in this series when you think they're insignificant, isolated by themselves, and then all of a sudden they turn into that real big inning.
With the Mariners sitting closer to the World Series than they've ever been. And a mistake-filled start to this game, whether or not he's called out. On defense, not pretty in the last half inning. The base running here, not good.
Yeah, that's a back pick play.
It's so close.
Yeah, from the angle we saw right here, it looks like it bounces. See how he gets the bag, and then it bounces over. And by the time he tags him, I think the glove is already, or the mitten is already on the bag.
Tough to overturn. Safe, yeah.
After review, the call stands. The runner.
Worth a look, but the call does stand. Rivas stays on base.
Yeah, the glove just bounces over, and then by the time he get what he feels is he's made contact with the arm. The oven glove, the oven mitt, is on the bag.
Bigger, yeah. Now, Kirk does that as much as anybody, and now you got to worry about Rodriguez at the plate. 2 balls and no strikes. Rodriguez homered against his Savage in the first inning of game 2. He's gone a little bit cold the last few days, though, for his last 10. Rip and a miss.
I know it's hard to do, but as a hitter, you got to say up the middle, right center, because whatever he's going to get is going to be moving off the plate. And if you're thinking that way, you're never going to swing at a bad pitch that's off the plate and down. But if you're trying to pull the ball, you're more susceptible to a pitch that's breaking away because you're going to pull off that pitch.
Savage in a tough place here. 3-1 pitch to Rodriguez, misses for ball 4, and now the bases are loaded for the big dumper. So Raleigh to the plate. Big swing after big swing. Of course, all season. But then in this series, he tied game 1 in the 6th inning. And he tied game 5 in the 8th.
One of the highest home runs you'll see all year. And he's definitely looking to lift the ball in this situation for at least 1 run. He's gotten a lot of splits when facing a guy who has a split. So I talked about the fastball up at some point. He's been really close to getting on that pitch. So if they attack him early and get a fastball up, look for that pitch to be the difference maker. Because I still believe he's getting closer. Now, he hasn't hit it yet, but his pitches that he's hit for homers have been down. But I've seen him turn around fastballs Mariner high on the jersey.
So careful going to the well too many times if you're Trey Savage. Bases loaded in a 2-0 game. See what he goes with first pitch. It is grounded to first. Vlad will go to second for 1. To recovering the Savage too. A 3-6-1 twin killing. And the 22-year-old gets Cal Raleigh on 1 pitch to get out of this inning unscathed. Turned upside down from game 5 to game 6. Mariners won both bases loaded situations in Seattle, but it's gone the other way here. And it's 2-0 Blue Jays as Alejandro Kirk leads off the bottom of the 3rd and takes a strike.
I thought Jimenez did an incredible job recognizing the pitcher was covering by not firing a bullet over there and a moving target. You saw that Savage's foot was like way on top of the bag, trying to figure out a way to get that double play and get out of the inning.
1-2 on Kirk.
Because we'll get a chance to look at it, but sometimes, you know, the shortstop can fire it over there, and depending on the pitcher, it can look awkward on the pitcher trying to get that receiving end to get the double play turn.
There's no doubt they would love to have Bo Bichette, but they're better defensively with Jimenez there as Gold Glover.
Got it, Ralph.
Already 50 pitches thrown by Logan Gilbert.
Yeah, this lineup can make it look ugly for a pitcher if you're not on and making really good 2-strike pitches.
bouncing ball. Suarez's adventure continues with a heave across the diamond to get Kirk.
All he needed to do was throw this ball shorter on the turf. I love when infielders on turf don't try to throw this ball all the way in the air. But this one got a little too close to the short hop, and you could see him hang in there as long as he could, knowing the runner was not fleet of foot. But just a little shorter, easier hop for Naylor would have been much better.
That was a nifty play by Naylor down there. One gone in this third inning. Gilbert gets the leadoff man. Varsho comes up. Started last inning with a double. Came in to score their first run. Well, Dalton's dad, Gary, played in the major leagues, and Gary knows through heartbreak of his own that the Jays are not finished. Gary was on the '91 Pirates team that led your Braves 3-2. Yeah. 21-year-old Steve Avery, 8 shutout innings to tie it up. John Smoltz, complete game shutout in Game 7, and Gary reminded Dalton of that today when they talked. Fly to right field, got it off the end of the bat. Canzone.
Yeah, when you see this double play, the pitcher knows he's got to go straight to the bag. Now he's seen it. He goes straight to the bag, but then the little timing and firm throw, but not the best that he has, allowed Savage to gather himself and turn the, you don't see too many bases loaded playoff 3-6-1s.
Gilbert looking for his first clean inning of the day. Ernie Clement cracks one in the air, deep left field. Arozarena steps back at the wall. It's off the very top of the wall. It's extra bases for Clement. The horn's going off. Chaos is ensuing. He's into third with a triple. Just missed a home run.
It's a long way for Julio Rodriguez. Every outfielder has a play to make and should be looking for caroms. This ball hits in that little fence area. The blue line's the homer. And then, of course, Arozarena doesn't quite know where it is in the beginning, but thankfully he saw it in time, or that would have been an inside the park home run by the time Rodriguez got to that ball.
2-out chance for Barger. Boy, this would be a huge run here. Logan Gilbert 1 out away from having a clean inning, and now he's looking at runner at third, 2 out. Barger, who knocked in their first run. Lifts one in the air, right center field. It is gone. Breaking. Base is empty, 2 outs. 3 pitches later, 2 runs are in.
Now we'll be able to add these to something we'll show you where the pitches are when a lot of the damage gets done. You literally could draw a line down the middle of the plate and put a coffee can in the center of it, and that's where most of those pitches that catch that part of the plate are not being missed by the Toronto Blue Jays. And for that matter, the Seattle Mariners and their homers, it's straight down the middle, and the damage.
Barger leading the way. It's all coming from the bottom of the order. Barger's knocked in 3 of the 4. All 4 runs coming in the bottom half. As much as the story for these Jays is the star guys like Guerrero, it's guys like Barger that have come out of nowhere to have huge years. Bullpen gets going, Bizardo. Barger started this season in AAA. Took an injury to Anthony Santander to even get him up to the big leagues. 21 home runs and now 2 more in the postseason. Bouncing ball to Crawford. That's the inning. A 2-out rally, a triple from Clement, a home run from Barger. And the Blue Jays trying to force Game 7, have a 4-0 lead.
Welcome back to Toronto, joined by Dan Wilson, Mariners manager. Your guys are seeing a pitcher throwing 72% secondaries. What adjustments have to be made?
Yeah, you know, he's thrown some stuff, you know, up in there. The split seems to be working. The slider's been good. We'll make our adjustments. Able to get some base runners there last inning, just not able to get them in.
You had the bullpen up. What do you see from Logan Gilbert?
Yeah, I mean, he got out of a tough jam there in the second, and you know, Barger able to get him there, but so far so good with him. But you know, we gotta be careful here as we get deeper into this game. But there's a lot of game left for us.
Thanks so much, Dan.
Thanks, Tom.
Trey Savage, 3 scoreless innings, 5 strikeouts. He'll face 3, 4, and 5 in the Mariners order here, with Jorge Polanco leading it off. Tom and Dan touched on right there. The splitter has returned with a vengeance after the Mariners hit it pretty well first time they saw him. They're 0 for 5 with 3 Ks against it.
Yeah, just to give you an understanding that if he had to pitch against his own team, he's just making better pitches than Gilbert is. Gilbert's not locating in the right counts in the right place, and that's why Toronto has been all over his pitches until 4-0 lead.
Here's the 1-2. Polanco lays off. Now Polanco, the big games here, is a hero a couple times first few games of the series, but just 1 for 10 since. On a 2-2 from the Savage, rakes it foul. Fly to right field. Barger's there. One down in the 4th. T-Mobile, the best network in the game, is now the best network in America. Addison Barger with a 2-run home run, and he's knocked in 3 of the 4 for the Jays. Talked about it a bunch when we were in Seattle. He grew up there, first 5 years of his life at least, and stayed a Mariners fan after his family moved to Florida. And I asked him if somebody had told the kid that was sitting up there in the stands watching Mariners games, hey, someday you're going to play down there in the playoffs on that field, what would you have said? And he said, that's the dream. Into center field goes Naylor with a base hit and a base runner for the Mariners here in the 4th.
Yeah, see, the Mariners and that guy, if you had 3 more or 4 more of that in the lineup, it'd be a whole different lineup for Seattle, because he can take the first pitch fastball and serve it. He's not literally trying to drive it out of the ballpark every single swing. And so when you mix those kind of hitters in against a pitcher like you Savage, you got to take what he's given you. And the first pitch fastball he saw right there and did a nice job with it.
Rosarena, who struck out his first time. No play. It's an instant replay of what his counterpart at third had to deal with. Yeah, and it's an infield hit for Randy Arozarena.
And Suarez has a chance to get him back in the game here, but more than likely the first pitch is not going to be a fastball. And I'd say it again, even if the first pitch was a fastball, the next one's not going to be a fastball. So you've got to pick one out. Got to stay disciplined. One batter at a time. Find a way to make it as tough as possible, again, for John Schneider and the bullpen to make decisions.
Suarez, the man in game 5. One away here in the 4th. Takes first pitch away.
And that grand slam, he did such a good job staying back, not getting beat, and also not trying to pull it, and got enough carry to hit it to right field for a grand slam.
Fouls this one off 1-1. Had to stick to his mantra lately because he was 6 for his last 50 going into that game, and he always says good vibes only. That's why they love him so much. Never know that he's going through a slump of his own as much as he cares about his teammates, as selfless as he is. The game rewarded him. Ball lays off. Ahead 2-1. .34-year-old in his 12th year. On a 2-1 from Savage. Swings and misses. Good slider makes it 2-2.
Well, the last 2 innings, the young man has had to work hard. Bases loaded, now first and second.
After breezing to the first 2. 2-2 is a wild pitch. Runner stopped at first and then will speed it up again and advance 90 feet. Three balls and 2 strikes on Suarez after this dirt ball. Second inning in a row. Seattle's threatened. Here's the payoff. Suarez takes high to load the bases. Just missed up. Third walk issued by a Savage, and the bases are loaded for Crawford. Looking for somebody to come up with that big hit on base. They're 3 for their last 31 coming into this game with men on base. It has been completely home run reliant. It's been enough to give them a 3-2 series lead, but it is a scary way to live. You get into these situations. Strike 1 on Crawford.
Well, the one thing Crawford has done, especially here, hit a lot of ground balls to the right side, specifically to the second baseman. If he does that again, he's going to have to run hard to beat a double play.
Crawford takes strike 2. To second on a short hop. 4-6-3. Double play again. There it was. He pulled it to the right side. And for the second consecutive inning, the Mariners come away empty-handed.
Welcome back to Toronto, here with Blue Jays manager John Schneider. John, Trey Savage escapes back-to-back one-out bases loaded jams. What has he shown you?
A lot of guts for a young guy, you know. I think just kind of staying present, making pitches, playing good defense behind him. But I've said it all, you know, the month he's been here, he seems to be pretty up for any challenges we're throwing at him, but he's making big pitches when he has to.
Addison Barger, 2-run homer in the third. He made a mechanical adjustment in the second game of this series, elevating his hands. John, how difficult is that to do in the middle of a postseason series?
It's definitely not easy. You know, Addie's so athletic, and I think that him and Pop have a very good back and forth and understanding kind of what works for him. To do it is one thing. To buy into doing it is one thing, but then to kind of see results is another. Kind of just freed him up a little bit to get, you know, through the ball, especially if fastball's inside. Big swing from him.
Finally, George Springer. What do you see?
Looks normal. You know, again, I think it's going to take a whole lot more than a hit by pitch to keep him out of the lineup. I think his at bats have been really good. And Georgie has a tendency to have big moments in this time of the year.
John, thanks a lot. Joe, back to you.
And he'll be due up second in this inning for the Blue Jays. 2 in the second, 2 in the third for Toronto. Trying to force game 7 in a series that they trailed 2-0, dropping the 2 home games. Jimenez on a bounce to Suarez. And the first out of the 4th.
Well, the double plays, these are pitcher's greatest friend. 2 for the price of 1, and you get it again in a situation where even though you're up 4-0, you don't want to give the other team anything to start thinking they're back in the game, and that's demoralizing on an offense for sure.
The Mariners this season grounded into double plays with the bases loaded 9 times all year, and then it's happened back-to-back innings here. Foul to center field, not deep though. Rodriguez, and it's got to be hard as a Mariners fan not to sit there and dread the worst. That, oh my gosh, we're the closest we've ever been, and everything's going wrong. Down 4-0 here in the 4th. Have not played as sharp as they did in the Game 5 win, as they have through a lot of this last month, where they've been the best team in the American League.
But I'll tell you what's got to happen. The man on the mound's got to give him some innings, and he's got to hold him right here, because that's going to save the bullpen. I know you say, well, what? Any inning they get that they don't have to showcase some of those guys, because you know they're going to employ all of those resources if they don't win this game. But you can't chase a game up 3-2 when a 4-run deficit with some of your highest leverage guys. You just can't, in my opinion. So the offense will have to dictate whether or not Dan Wilson will have to go to these guys earlier than he wants to.
Pizarro's warmed a couple times. He's ready to go down there. Gilbert kicks and fires in 0-1 to Nathan Lucas. That's in the dirt.
Because at no point, I mean, the games that are being played have been, for the most part, kind of blowouts, right? There's been a couple close games and then turned into a 4-run lead. But we haven't seen the Seattle Mariners chase down a 5-run deficit or a 4-run deficit. It's been a closer game that they expand their lead when they get a chance to do that.
Well, this is right where Gilbert had the Blue Jays last inning. Retired the first 2, but then gave up a triple to Ernie Clement and a home run to Addison Barger. Still looking for his first 1-2-3 inning of the game. This is 1-2 to Lucas.
You know, pitcher's gone through the ringer when you're missing that badly on location with a fastball. It just tells me you're a little fatigued and you're just a little bit out of that release point.
Grounded to second. Rivas waits on it, and there is the first 1-2-3 inning for Logan Gilbert. Trey Savage heads back out there. Bummage for the Mariners, courtesy of the rookie. Hang on to this lead. We'll be back for a Game 7 winner take all. 7 o'clock Eastern the coverage begins. 4 Pacific on Fox. If the Mariners come back and win, they'll be off to LA for their first World Series in franchise history. No matter what the matchup is, it'll begin on Friday night. Ball 1 from Trey Savage to Dominic Canzone. Who wins this series will determine where Game 1 is. If the Mariners win, Games 1 and 2 are in Los Angeles. If the Blue Jays come back and win this series, they would host the first 2 games. All 7 o'clock Eastern on Fox. Chance after chance for the Mariners in this game. Back-to-back innings with the bases loaded. Nobody out in the 3rd, 1 out in the 4th, but double plays getting Trey Savage out. It's just the 2nd time in playoff history that a team has had bases loaded double plays in back-to-back innings. You got to go back to the 1953 World Series Game 6. The Brooklyn Dodgers did that in a game that Billy Martin would later hit a series-clinching walk-off single.
I know he's got a script and he's probably not calling his own game, so but it would be really great if he could establish and get these fastballs in and get outs with fastballs, because what he's doing is working the count and working himself out of a game quicker than normal. And I'm sure they're going to be watching that as well. But you get a 4-0 lead, and my theory was you're going to have to get on with hits. You beat me with some hits, you get 5 hits, so be it.
Canzone grounds one through and into center field for a leadoff hit.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There really isn't. I mean, we talked about, yeah, that's a rally, but it's 4-0, and you want action, and they're going to get action in the pen. But the more pitches he throws, again, the more likelihood he comes out of the game earlier, and he gives Seattle a fighting chance.
Yeah, and for a Toronto bullpen that has +6 ERA, 11 ERA in the 3 losses in this series, you need every out you can get from Trey Savage. Now the 9-hitter Rivas, who just missed a home run his last time, takes a fastball at the top of the zone. Rivas not big. He's 5'8", 160 pounds, but there is pop in there. 28-year-old who spent almost a decade in the minors before getting his shot with Seattle. Now 0-1 from you, Savage. Fouls it off, and it's quickly 0-2. Back-to-back fastball.
Yeah, that's better. I mean, the velocity's down a little bit, but it's okay. Attack the hitter, and then when you got him in a 2-strike situation, then if you want to put him away with a split, you can do that. Especially at this part of the lineup.
Strikeout number 6 for Trey Savage.
That was just perfectly executed. I think we're so geared towards pitching away from contact ever that you start throwing extra pitches that you don't need to be throwing, although be it in a very pressure situation.
And he has rode that splitter to this bounce-back game. Seattle's 0 for 8, 4 strikeouts on that pitch. That's set off to short. 6, 4, 3. 3 consecutive twin killings. Together as baseball's platform embodying the sport's commitment to philanthropic causes and mental wellness efforts by teams, players, and the league. To learn more, visit MLBtogether.com. 2 in the second and 2 in the third for the Blue Jays as they try to extend their season another day. Get to a Game 7 tomorrow. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. leads off the 5th against Logan Gilbert. He's 0 for 2, but last time he was up there, he had the hardest hit ball of the postseason for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, he smoked that slider down on the ground. And again, another big inning. Don't underestimate what Logan Gilbert is trying to do, even though he's down 4-0.
Ball. Here's 1-1 to Guerrero. Here's right to left field. Forget about it. Gone. Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s 6th home run of the postseason makes it 5-0 Toronto. And it's the Blue Jays offense coming to life again. 2 home runs in this game and 5 runs through 5 innings. That is going to do it for Logan Gilbert. Locked in, hitting everything. What an October this has been for the franchise face, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Man, oh man, has that guy delivered in these playoffs. Franchise record 6 home runs for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in just 10 games. And into the bullpen goes Dan Wilson. Logan Gilbert was only at 75 pitches, and he brings on Bizzardo, who's not a mop-up guy by any means. Alejandro Kirk takes a strike.
Yeah, a little surprising here. Again, you're not waving no white flag by anybody that you bring in, but you're chasing a 5-run deficit, and you know that if they're going to come back in this game, that's what you're thinking. But if you don't, then you're going to need this young man for tomorrow as well.
He is somebody that they can lean on back-to-back days, so you would still have Bizzardo available. But it does start that door swinging open. Kirk on 0-2. Pokes on the right field. Right to Canzone for the first out. Look back to Vlad Jr.'s 6th home run of the playoffs.
Another off-speed pitch. 4 of the 7 have been absolutely barreled, including both home runs. And that was another off-speed that just sat right in the middle. And his swing plane, when you do that with that kind of off-speed, it allows him to launch, because he's going to hit it hard. A lot of the time it's on the ground in the gaps. This time it was in the stands.
Dalton Varsho ripping a miss.
So coming into this game, the Seattle Mariners had hit 11 home runs and accounted for 20 RBIs. Now Toronto's up to what is that, 10 home runs and accounted for 14 RBIs. So they're closing the gap on the homers and closing the gap on the RBIs, but the disparity has been because of more damage.
High fly ball straight away center field. Rodriguez to the track with room. Varsho's out number 2.
I was having to do math.
I'm not good on the fly. A lot of the note card.
Yeah, I was, but you see the grand slam, the 2-3-run homers by Seattle, and now Toronto can get in that same ballpark, and where it looks like we're headed to a Game 7 if this trend continues.
Yeah, the 2 home runs you mentioned today in those wins, yeah, bat to ball, high average, but now they've had 15 home runs in the 5 wins in these playoffs, only 2 home runs in the 4 losses.
Yeah.
So it's a big dimension of their offense too. Ernie Clement has reached both times and scored twice. That includes a triple. They were 2 out in the 3rd inning, tripled, and came in to score on Barger's home run that followed it. Guy that was a 200 hitter with Cleveland and with Oakland, dumped with both teams, has come here to the Blue Jays as a defensive first guy, but emerged as an offensive threat by leaning into that. Put it in play. Head to second. Second extra base hit for Clement.
Well, you never know. He got the hardest one out of the way, a triple. Little slicer there for a double off the turf. Guess what this guy's going to be doing?
Swinging hard.
Swinging hard. We talked about the 6, 7, 8, and even 9 hitters. Oh, he swung hard. But
yeah, flied it into center field for Rodriguez. We're going to get Barger for the first time today. 5 innings in the books, 5 runs on the board for the Jays. For the Seattle Mariners in their 49 years of the franchise today, 1 win away from the World Series. They've never been able to say that, but down 5-0 as the Blue Jays look to force a Game 7. Trey Savage using 3 consecutive inning-ending double plays to preserve a shutout. He's back out there for the 6th against the guy that hit into the first of those double plays in Raleigh.
Well, this is really big for John Schneider. If he could have got 6 innings out of this youngster and no runs, he would do backflips And he's 3 outs away from that happening. He's got the bullpen ready just in case.
The Savage put a bounce back game, dominated the Yankees, struggled against the Mariners in game 2. Right back on his feet though. Said he was talking to Kevin Gosman, 13 years in the major leagues, 34 years old. He said, what's the furthest you've made it? Kevin said, this right here, my whole career. And he said, wow, I feel so blessed to be pitching in this spot. I realize this isn't guaranteed. He's so excited to try to make the most of it.
Spoils it. Kirk's done a nice job with the youngster. The pitch before, he was really encouraging him to get it up. And then there he was really pointing down, extension down to get it down. So he knows what this is, how big this inning is. And he's just trying to get him through this great hitter. Reinforcements. I know they get to hear it in their ear with the pitch comm, but you know, catchers can give your pitcher a lot of confidence by their mannerisms behind the plate.
Kirk, the unofficial captain of this Jays team, got them back there. It is 7 strikeout of the night. 3 consecutive innings ending in a double play. It's just the 5th time in playoff history a team's done that.
Well, that was the biggest one. This one was more routine. He didn't have to be involved in it. And then the next one, another kind of routine double play ball that you love. To have 3 in one game, you might not get 3 in a month, 3 in a year. And there's pitchers that just don't induce double play balls. He's gotten 3. I'm sure he would be fine if he never had to get another one, meaning the situations don't call for it.
Polanco with 1 away. Well, to your point, and granted it's only 5 games, but he had not induced a double play in his major league career prior to this 3-inning stretch.
Yeah, he's going to be more of a fly ball pitcher, even though he does get some ground balls on his low fastball. And then you would think weak contact on that splitter.
Chopper, Guerrero, the Savage, 2 up. And a quick message from Corona. Oh, the dominance against the Yankees in his first postseason start. The city, this country fell in love with him. With that came a large amount of pressure and expectations for a kid who had started just a handful of games in the major leagues. But with that backdrop, with the pressure trying to keep his team's season alive, nothing but zeros put up there through 5 2/3. Here he comes to Josh Naylor with a high fly ball to deep right field. There goes the shutout. Naylor goes very deep and makes it 5-1. The Mississauga kid, for the 2nd time in this series, goes deep at Rogers Center, and it's 5-1.
First pitch off speed hanger, and he just gets the barrel out, and he knows it.
You think?
But again, the 2 outs here, attack. And if you can't get him out attacking, then he will come out to get you. But if you're messing around and trying to trick him, at this point, you don't have as good a stuff.
And it's that guy that they've messed around with way more than they should, Rosarena. Naylor 2 out of 3 with a home run. Rest of the team 3 for 16 together. Naylor close to 500 the last 8 games. That served into right center field. A base hit for Rosarena. Cut off by Barger. And Rosarena has hits in back-to-back trips up there, doubling his total for the series.
He's definitely lost confidence in his fastball because he's throwing a lot of breaking balls and a lot of off speed. Unfortunately, that probably has got to continue. That'll be the last guy he faces.
Louis Varland's ready. John Schneider's going to hear it from this 44,000 sellout crowd. Trey Savage, though, punched in game 2. Quite a response.
Great response.
Calm, collected. 22? No way. The Savage finish. Louis Varland on form. Eugenio Suarez takes outside. Louis Varland has been John Schneider's favorite guy to toss out there. You see the line that is not quite final. That runner at first, his responsibility. But for the 5th time in 6 games in this championship series, Varland's got it in a key spot. Ooh, ball strike.
That slider did absolutely nothing, but it did enough to fool almost the umpire and fool Suarez. He's in. This is supposed to break, and it really didn't.
Mariners trying to get back into this game against the Toronto Pen. 2-1 on Suarez.
And Varland's come in half of his appearances with runners on. Now this is a little less stressful than bases loaded, 2 outs against the Yankees and traffic others.
Ball 3. Home runs have been the biggest issue for him. John Schneider's continued to trust him. And look, in this bullpen right now, the options to really trust wholeheartedly are few and far between. This was the biggest concern coming into the playoffs, and that has played out. 3-2. Shot to right, down the line. It's a foul ball. Up against the sidewall. Suarez falls. Here comes a throw home. It's up the line. Arozarena scores from first. Suarez settles for a single as he falls coming around first base, but he's made it a 5-2 game.
Wow, was Arozarena flying. It was off with contact, obviously with 2 outs, but a little dicey if you get thrown out here, and he had a running start as you saw, and this ball kind of just sits off the cushion. Good effort, but the throw tails and a flying Arozarena.
Every 90 feet so important. Suarez still at first. 5-2 ball game. Crawford at the plate. And you know, Blue Jays fans are covering their eyes saying not again with this bullpen.
Yeah, the bullpen that was kind of pretty good before this playoff started, and they run into some rough patches. But there's only one thing your manager can do is go to the highest leverage guys that you're going to trust are going to get it done. You see what they've done on the series. And the homer's the big culprit.
That's off. Falls behind Crawford. Ten games in this postseason for the Blue Jays. Varland has pitched in 9 of them. For 74 regular season appearances that put him in the top 5 in baseball. How much is left in that tank? The Savage and the Jays hoping there's a little bit left. 5-2 top of the 6th in game 6. Crawford takes ball 3.
That's a really good take. If you want something to happen as a hitter, you're going to swing at that. He did a great job and got it to a neutral count. That'll give Suarez an opportunity to get going. That ball starts middle in, and a lot of left-handers will swing over the top trying to crush it.
Runner takes off. Crawford swings and misses. That's strike 3. A changeup to finish him off. Seattle gets on the board, though. 5-2, middle of the 6th. Welcome back to the 2025 American League Championship Series on FS1, presented by Loan Depot. 5-2 Blue Jays here in Game 6, trying to force a decisive game tomorrow night. Josh Naylor gets the Mariners on the board, 5-2 to the bottom of the 6th, and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa pops up Edward Bizarro's first pitch. Crawford's got it, 1 away.
That was a nasty 3-2 pitch, by the way. That changeup, didn't think you were going to get that. Neither did Crawford, so that kind of killed that rally. Nice job by Varland.
Changeup at 95, amped up. 1 gone in the 6th. The 9-hitter Andres Gimenez. Bizarro, who's gone multiple innings, 2 of his last 3 outs, 2 of his last 3 outings. And there with a strike. It's a guy who bounced around the major leagues, back and forth between the majors and the minors for a few years. At the age of 30 this year, finally a chance to stick. 5-0 with a 250, and climbed that trust tree as the year went on. Power sinker of his. And Vargas and Brash both ready. Only 4+ innings tonight from Gilbert. Swing and a miss. 2 up and 2 down. Wear what the players are wearing on field during the postseason. You can check out the largest selection of authentic gear at MLBshop.com. Get your favorite postseason team gear. To the top of the order in Springer. That's sweet hat. Bedazzled.
This guy's got a great arm. And again, coming in here, holding the fort. We'll need him tomorrow, I would assume.
Bouncing ball to third. Suarez has it. And Bizarro's got a 1-2-3-6. 2 innings of scoreless relief for Edward Bizarro. Here in Game 6 to the top of the 7th inning. Louis Varland goes back to the mound. Dominic Canzone takes ball 1 in the dirt. Varland in this bullpen trying to make things hold up for Trey Savage. Bounce back game for the rookie. 5 2/3. 8-9-1 here for the Mariners. Canzone 1 for 2.
That's inside.
2-0. Mariners get in on the board in the 6th inning with a home run from Naylor. And then back-to-back 2-out hits from Arozarena and Suarez. High fly, center field. Back goes Gimenez. He's there. Now Gimenez or Savage went back to that splitter, threw 31 of them, the most that he's thrown in any game this year.
Yeah, he did a good job. He hung a couple of them, but he still got a ton of swings and misses. 16 swings and misses on all total for the Seattle Mariners. All of them are going to be on non-fastballs, and you see where those were located. And a huge outing for the young man and his manager.
Rivas takes a little high, ball 1. Playing the role of Steve Avery.
Yeah, all you want if you're Bieber is a chance
to be John Smoltz.
It is one of the worst games I've ever watched because there's nothing you can do, and you're hoping your team. And that game was 0-0 in the 9th.
Game 6, you're saying, is one of the worst games to watch. Yeah.
And we scored 1 in the 9th, but you just want another chance.
That's off.
That was the 91 National League Championship Series. Pirates had a 3-2 series lead over the Braves. Avery 8 scoreless innings at the age of 21 in Game 6 to force Game 7, where Smoltz put up nothing but zeros. 2-2 on Rivas.
And I've been on the other side too, where Kirby just soon start Game 1 or whenever he was slated, but based on the score will be pressed into pitching a Game 7.
Man, won't he like a shot of redemption if it comes to that. 8 runs allowed in his start, tied for the most in postseason history. Also have Luis Castillo, who they could consider. Strike 3 called on Rivas, 2 out. Down to Tom Verducci.
Well, think about this, Joe. 760 pitchers have taken the baseball facing elimination. Trey Savage with 3 regular season starts, the least experienced of all of them. And he looked like a veteran out there, and the Mariners never got him off that split. 17 times they tried to hit it, 10 times they missed. That's a unique pitch that drops 5.5 feet. It was a big ask, but when you ask everybody on the Toronto side, they've known that Trey Savage is up to it.
First round pick just a year ago. Julio Rodriguez lofts this one to left field, but he hooked it off the end of the barrel. A 1-2-3 7th inning for Louis Varland, and we stretch in game 6. For players, your postseason. Follow all the postseason action. Download the MLB app, the #1 app for live baseball. I saw Jorge Polanco getting ready for his at-bat in the top of the 8th. He's due up second. 2, 3, and 4 coming up for the Mariners. Here for the bottom of the 7th, it's Matt Brash. A ball on Lucas. How about Edward Bizardo? 2 innings on 15 pitches. So available tomorrow if it goes there. And now it's Brash. Up the middle. Backhand play right there by Rivas. Nice play to get Lucas. Here comes Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Lifted off for his 6th postseason home run. They have put him on prolifically. Let's see if they go after him here. They will. Some guys, I would imagine, you go up there and it's like, I think I know how to get him out, but it feels like it doesn't matter what you throw right now.
No, you got to make quality pitches in 3 different areas. That's the one thing that, not hitting him, but making him aware of the pitch inside.
So he does get hit by this pitch. Gets away from Brash. From an elbow guard. So making a very comfortable hitter, a little bit more uncomfortable right there. Runner aboard with 1 away. Alejandro Kirk coming up. You mentioned looking ahead to the 8th inning. 2, 3, and 4 due up. It's the same spot in the order that was the key moment in game 5. And Jeff Hoffman, who a lot of people were surprised was not in there to face the heart of the order, is going to get him this time. Up the middle goes Kirk with a bullet of a base hit into center field.
You can't leave mediocre secondary pitches in the middle of the plate to this team, and that's what Seattle has been guilty of when they give up hits and hard contact. It's spinning right in the middle. Great hitting up the middle with that approach, but you've got to make better pitches with your breaking balls.
One away, runners at first and second. Varsho to the plate.
And some of this is a byproduct, Joe, of just these guys are pitching a lot. They've been, just think what they had to go through in that 5-game series. It catches up to you, and that's why when you don't get deep starting pitching or any kind of starting pitching of any kind of length, you're really putting your bullpen at a disadvantage because these guys are cluing in and they're seeing these guys multiple times, and the advantage goes to the hitter.
And in the case of Brash, this is his 8th appearance out of the last 10 games. Get a quick word from Capital One.
With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn all of your purchases into extraordinary trips. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Bullpen, the biggest differentiator we've touched on a few times between these two teams. And then when you're looking at the wins and the losses, drastically different. Part of that is as you get behind, you put your less good arms out there, and so that's going to snowball on it a little bit. But in the 3 wins for the Mariners, the Pen gave up 1 run. In the 2 losses, they gave up 10. Guerrero at second, Kirk at first. Varsho takes a strike on the inside corner. Well, for Matt Brash, this is a bit of a homecoming. He's out of Kingston, Ontario, which is about 3 hours from here. Never got into hockey like so many kids in this country. He always wanted to be the next Roy Halladay. Get a chase right here, but it kicks away. Throw it third into left field. Guerrero comes in to score. Throwing error from Cal Raleigh. Jays get the insurance. 6-2.
Well, that's a guy that's letting that hit batsman his feet do the talking, because he was a little bit angry when he got hit. He was angry running right here, and that led to a run. And watch his reaction when he touches home plate.
Vlad's good TV, man.
I could beat you in different ways, he says.
We showed that earlier in the postseason, that Superman dive to home plate. Varsho's down swinging, 2 away.
That's a big run. I mean, they're all big, but now you've turned it into the grand slam. The only way you can tie and bring up a homer.
It's hard to not look at this and feel like the Mariners are doing different than who they are and who they've been. This has looked like a team who's on the verge, clenched tight, that close to going to the World Series. 2 errors, a couple other defensive misplays, some base running errors, missed opportunities at the plate, and a 6-2 deficit and a Game 7 looming. 2-1 Clement. A 95 against the Indians, 2000 against the Yankees. They got it to a Game 6, but they were down 3-2, trying to force Game 7. Different kind of pressure. 2001, it was over in 5 games against the Yanks.
They're completely pitching away, almost pitching around Clement. I mean, Cal's in the other box, trying to receive these sliders.
You know, if he gets a strike, he's probably swinging.
Ball 4.
Ball 4. So Clement's been on all 4 times today. Pitching coach Pete Woodworth is out there as Addison Barger comes up. And we get a quick word from Strauss.
From the grit of the job site to the glory of the ball field, work wins the game. Strauss and Major League Baseball, gear for any season.
Jays flexing the lineup length in this game. Barger out of the 7 spot. A single, a homer, and 3 knocked in. Kirk is second, Clement at first, not close. He just looks like he's out of gas.
Yeah, no, he's rushing everything, trying to really break the breaking ball, and obviously right there, the changeup, he was trying to float that one over the plate and just getting out front too fast.
Full count. Burners to get a head start with his 3-2 from Brash. Barger takes ball 4 to load him up. Carlos Vargas ready to go in that Mariners bullpen as Kiner Falefa heads to the plate. And it looks like Dan Wilson's going to let him try to get out of this. They're going to pinch run for Barger. There goes Miles Straw to take over. Good day for Barger. Single homer, now a walk. Well, a chance right here for the Blue Jays to pretty much put this one on ice and start making plans for 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Bases loaded for Kiner Falefa.
Funny, we opened up in our open about the bases loaded, how it went one way for one team and not for the other. That's been the theme tonight. It's been bases loaded quite a few times, and the double plays, and then the big hits by Toronto.
Floated down the right field line. Canzone has room to end the inning. Well, they're trying to figure out how to pitch to this guy. They come inside, they hit him, and he still finds a way to make him pay with his legs. Taking third, putting the pressure on, forcing the third Seattle error of the game. And it's 6-2 Toronto. Jays are 6 outs away from forcing a Game 7. If it happens, 7 o'clock Eastern will be on the air on Fox tomorrow night. Shane Bieber lined up to pitch that game for the Blue Jays after he was awesome in Seattle. The Mariners going to have somebody go that has not been good. George Kirby, the likely guy. Luis Castillo also in the picture. Both those guys struggled. All right, so this is the spot in the order that told the story in Game 5. It was a different pitcher, though, as John Schneider went with Brendan Little over Jeff Hoffman, who's been his closer this season, and he figured that this was a spot for the closer. In a one-run game, highest leverage spot, biggest bats come out. John Schneider said the thought was, okay, Hoffman gives up a lot of home runs, most in the American League. Little's only given up 2 home runs all year. You're facing the home run champion. You wanted a guy who's going to keep the ball down. You didn't figure he was going to give one up. And he said, even looking back, seeing how, he said, I hate how it went. Of course, you hate how it goes when it doesn't work out, but still feel good about the process to get to the decision.
Well, like I said, though, unless Bieber can go 7 or 8 innings, he's going to have all those decisions, and he'll want them tomorrow. Of course he wants a Game 7. But the decisions on who to bring, when to bring, when you have to do it so many times, you're rolling the dice.
Crawley's 0 for 3 in this game. Hoffman deals a 1-2 and a pop foul. Now, no team in 29 years has done what the Blue Jays are trying to do. That is lose the first 2 games at home and then go on to win the series. John Schneider said, look, we're just trying to do what we've done 98 times this year, and that is win 1 game in a row. Riley's down on a high fastball.
Well, this is probably one. I mean, I know he's had 3 strikeout games before, but they have really neutralized Cal. Of course, the 3-6-1 double play with 3 strikeouts and an error. Probably not one of his greatest games, but he'll be ready if he has to tomorrow to get a big hit.
Polanco takes downstairs 1-0. You mentioned the error. We mentioned the 3 of them. This is the first 3-error game of the year for Seattle. One-of-a-kind game coming in, and one-of-a-kind game for the wrong reason coming out. still right there, no matter how this one finishes. Still one win from their first pennant. And it's never been easy for this franchise. Even you look this year, they've had to be resilient, the Seattle Mariners. They had the 4-game losing streak early on in September. They were 4 games back of the Astros. Looked like they were headed for the same fate they've had recently when the Astros have owned that division, but they come back, win the division. DS against the Tigers, they lost game 1. They blew game 4 and then had to face Skubal in game 5, beat him to get into this championship series. So they've been tested many times. They've got a half-century of getting tested. And they're still, as the calendar flips to tomorrow, if this score holds, 27 outs away from the promised land. Hoffman's 2-2. Still down. Another 2-2 pitch. Tapper. Foul. Kenny.
Joe, one thing about tomorrow night in the Toronto bullpen. Max Scherzer will be in play. He was available tonight. Kevin Gossman also will be in play. John Schneider will have multiple options.
As they look to end a drought of their own. 32 years since their last trip to the World Series. Shared suffering. Sure, Seattle's had more. They haven't had the joy that the Jays have had with those back-to-back World Series, but long waits for both these franchises. Joined the major leagues together in 1977.
So it's fitting. It's got to go to a
Right.
Game 7.
Couldn't be easy for either one. Just wouldn't be right. The 2-2 pitch again. This time he went around, and it's back-to-back Ks for Hoffman. Franchise histories. The 2 pennants for the Jays back-to-back in the early 1990s. Mariners didn't have a winning season until their 15th year. Didn't have a playoff trip until their 19th year. That 95 team that saved baseball in Seattle when there was talk of the team getting sold, leaving town. Naylor's been the guy for the Mariners again today with 2 hits. And there's another backswing. Kirk's got to be getting sick of this.
Yeah.
The 0-1. Pop up down the line, long run straw. He's there. And we go to the bottom of the 8th in game 6.
Hey, I gotta pick myself up off the ground,
Andres Jimenez leads off the bottom of the 8th for the Blue Jays. Takes a ball from the new Seattle pitcher Carlos Vargas. It is 6-2 Blue Jays looking for their first win of this championship series at home. It was jarring to watch them lose those 2 games the way they did to start this series. And that has been the best home field advantage in the American League this year. They wanted so bad that they have another shot here. And they earned that by winning 2 of 3 in Seattle. And it's easy to get so tunnel vision, game to game, the storylines. But big picture, they did what they wanted to do, what they had to do. Winning 2 of those 3 is heartbreaking as game 5 was.
Well, that's exactly right, because they had to come out swinging to make it even a series, and they did that for 2 straight games.
Play Ball is baseball's global youth initiative to highlight the fun and accessible ways to play our great game. To learn more, including how to find a league near you, go to playball.org and follow @playball on X, Facebook, and Instagram. One gone in this 8th inning. Back to the top in Springer, fighting through that sore knee. Speaking of sore knees, the other part of this is that the Jays, if they can get to the World Series, have a shot to get Bo Bichette back. And fans not happy with this ball spilling Springer. One they got away from Vargas. George not real happy either.
Yeah, you can't mess around up there.
Tyler Heineman doesn't love it. .98 with teeth to the inside edge.
This is one thing I've never understood, and I know guys throw way harder than ever before, but missing a pitch way up by the head is just really bad mechanics, because you're not trying to throw the ball. When you're trying to chase a sinker in, you get underneath it and the ball gets away, and then you upshoot it. But you really should never be around the shoulder area ever with any one of those pitches.
Swing and a miss, strikes him out with a fastball, and Springer limping his way out of the batter's box. 2 outs in this 8th inning. One of the big differences in this game, the defense. 3 errors, a season high committed by Seattle. And that led directly to 3 runs for the Jays. We're giving them the cushion here. The heroes offensively in Game 5. 2 of the goats defensively in Game 6. Roller to short. Crawford heaves it across his body late. Lucas has his 2nd hit of the game.
Wait till you see this next swing.
Yeah, Vlad Jr.'s coming up.
Be careful if you give him a 100-mile-an-hour sinker.
Got hit his last time up. Homered before that. Vargas knew it too. Turned it up to 101.
This guy's got the swing, the hits for average, hits for powers, and there's where he's gotten his damage.
Everywhere?
Yep, that's what he does. Covers the whole part of the plate.
Chan Vladdy as he shatters his bat and a teardrop of a base hit into center. Nine out of his last 16.
That's what you got to do. You got to get the ball in, but look what he did. He's strong enough. He hit it twice. No penalty on that. Not even in golf anymore. He hit it twice in golf. No penalty.
Inning kept alive. Here's Kirk. Well, the Mariners bullpen will be set up pretty well for tomorrow. They did not use Andres Munoz, did not use Gabe Spire or Brian Wu, who looked pretty good in his 2 innings coming off of the injured list. Question will be, what do they get from their starters? Kirby and Castillo both really struggled. High fly into right field. Dominic Canzone saunters under, puts it away, and sends Game 6 to the 9th. Coming up when the game finishes, stay tuned for the post-game show on FS1 with Matt, Alex, Poppy, and Derek, presented by Strauss. Jeff Hoffman's going to stay in there, try to get the last 6 outs of this ball game. We'll get it to game 7. Razor leads off and takes strike 1. So when you look ahead to the game tomorrow for John Schneider, the pitching staff for the Blue Jays, Shane Bieber to start it. Yeah, Jeff Hoffman here probably going to be unavailable, going 2 innings.
Oh, he'll be available.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There won't be anybody besides you Savage that won't be available for a game 7. Yeah, I would think there's no reason for him to roll back out in the 9th if he didn't think he could bring him back.
He's only gone 2 full innings 3 times all year. Only gone more than 1 inning 1 time. So this is much heavier load than he's used to. But the point is, they're going to have a really loaded staff. 1 gone in the 9th. Plus, as Kenny said, Max Scherzer. About a week ago, that wouldn't have necessarily felt like a great thing. Scherzer looking like a different guy in game 4. Suarez walking an RBI single. 6 runs on 11 hits for the Blue Jays. 2 runs on 7 hits for the Mariners. Jays have out-homered them 2-1. And in the air column, 0 for the Jays, 3 by the Mariners. Same score as the 5th game, just flipped upside down. Six innings from that man in game 3. All set for the game 7 start. Fouled it off.
I tell you what, the crowd in Seattle was impressive. The crowd here has been impressive. There's going to be some sore shoulders. They've been waving them towels. They've been flipping them around. They've been on their feet, begging for game 7, and they're close to getting it.
Here's another 2-2. Taken by Suarez. Count goes full. What's that like going to bed the night before when you Shane Bieber?
I mean, this is what you've been hoping for, right? You got back here. You didn't look good after 2 games. You're like, man, if I could ever think about pitching a game 7. But the biggest thing is he's got momentum on his side with the last 4 innings that he pitched in Seattle. He made the corrections. He had his slider working, pinpoint command. And on the other side, if you're Kirby, you're like, all right, here we. If you're Kirby, you got to make the adjustments you didn't make in the in-game scenario against Toronto the first time. And if you haven't been dreaming about this game, you better start dreaming about it, because game 7s are the greatest in the world if you let them be. If you approach it like, oh no, I don't want to be the GOAT, it's never a good situation for players like that. But it is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I think it's the greatest game we have in our sport. Game 7, winner goes on, loser goes home.
2 teams win tonight, the Blue Jays and the Los Angeles Dodgers. No matter who they face, will have gone the distance to get there.
What I've noticed about both pitchers, though, and again, you don't know what's under the hood, you can only read their mannerisms, they seem like very slow heartbeat pitchers. That's what you need to have in a game 7, especially on the road.
2-0 to Crawford, 2-1.
And I will say, when you're the visiting pitcher, you're facing this atmosphere. So if this atmosphere is going like this every time you're out there, that doesn't bode well for you. That means runners are on. It means things are happening. There's all kinds of rallies. So you want to keep that to a minimum.
Two teams born in '77. Going to play 7 for the American League pennant.
Ball 4.
A walk for Crawford. His second one tonight. Seven o'clock. The coverage will begin. First pitch coming around 8 Eastern. Barring a miraculous 2-out rally here from Seattle as Dominic Canzone comes up.
You know who doesn't like Game 7s? Managers. They hate them. There's nothing fun about managing a Game 7. I don't care what side you're on, because you have to read, react, and make decisions that have severe ramifications if they don't go well. We've seen each manager survive decisions that didn't go well. That's why we're at a Game 7.
John Schneider, third season as the manager, full-time role for the Blue Jays. Dan Wilson took over late last year. .32 pitches for Jeff Hoffman. Next one will match his season high. There goes Crawford from first, popped out of his hand. After 5 2/3 from Trey Savage in this game, you talked about a nice start and some offense, making life easier on John Schneider, make this an easier game to manage, and that's what it became. Barwin 1 1/3, no runs. And Hoffman trying to go the last 2 without a run. One to Canzone. Fouled off, and he's a strike away. Pop up, buckle up for Game 7 tomorrow night. All the twists and the turns of this series, the highs and the lows, the nitpicking, has led to a Game 7 to decide an American League champion.
17 innings tomorrow.
Let's go.
That's all Seattle knows how to play in chaos games.
That's true. They've certainly been here before, winning Game 5 a little more than a week ago against Tarek Skubal and the Detroit Tigers in 15. And you know, Cal Raleigh love a shot at a bounce back game after his 0 for 4 day today with the air. So it is 6-2 in Game 5 to the Mariners. It's 6-2 in Game 6 for the Blue Jays. Jeff Hoffman throws a season-high number of pitches to finish off the game. Trey Savage with a bounce back. The 22-year-old moves to 2-1 in the postseason. Studio guys, take it away.